Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Gripe, the show for short, sweet reviews of new release movies, plus the one thing that annoyed me the most. And today I'm going to be talking about 2016's take on The Magnificent Seven. The Magnificent Seven is a story about a town of settlers that are overrun by a murderous and corrupt gang in the Wild West. And when there's no one left to help them, they turn to outlaws to protect them. And can 7 men save a town against an entire army? The film stars Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, Vincent D'Onofrio, Byung-Hun Lee, Manuel Garcia Rulfo, Martin Sandsmeyer, Haley Bennett, and Peter Sarsgaard. And the film is directed by Antoine Fuqua. Yes, it's another remake, and actually this one is really egregious because it's a remake of a remake, and it was really, really hard to watch this movie without thinking of Seven Samurai throughout, and that Seven Samurai being Akira Kurosawa's masterpiece. There's no way that this film could live up to Seven Samurai, but at least I had to hope that it could offer something unique, at least something different from the 1960 version. Truth be told, I think it improves on the Yul Brynner Steve McQueen film from 1960. Certainly in the sense that the story is given a more relative setting. It's still a Western, but at least the setup for the story is a little bit more relevant to what we do today. So it's not just evil bandits who are attacking the village, it's rather a greedy businessman. It's still cliche, the story is still fairly illogical in the sense of a Western, but it certainly resonates more in this context. Especially the theme of sacrifice really resonates in the context of this particular incarnation of the film. And the paradigm itself is obviously really popular because it creates real stakes, which makes the end a lot more impactful. When you have just 7 strangers coming together to help a town, it certainly creates bigger stakes, and especially the size of the villain and his gang make it even more impactful at the end. The film is a reunion of the Training Day trio, and by that I mean Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke, and Antoine Fuqua, and none of them disappointed in this story. Washington is, well, he's Denzel. That's just who he is. He just commands on screen. Every movie he's in, he has a commanding presence, and that's no different here. And then you have Chris Pratt thrown in the mix, and Chris Pratt, who's become a superstar overnight, it seems, but he's everywhere, and for good reason, because he's a great comic foil, as well as having that sort of dark side hero vibe to him. But he's obviously still very comedic in his role here. One person in particular really stung out, and that was Byung-Hun Lee. His character is just awesome, and he just has this presence on screen that kind of like Denzel. He just emanates like confidence, and you're so curious about this character, and he brings it. He absolutely is an incredibly fun character. Across the board, this is well cast and refreshingly diverse. The cast is fantastic, and they really make this movie worth watching and give you some interest in whether or not these characters live or die, even though you know some of them will die. Fuqua's direction isn't flashy, but it's effective, and it certainly has a similar hue to some of his other movies like Brooklyn's Finest and Training Day. Just in terms of how it looks, it's not just a straight movie. There's just this weird hue to it, almost like a haze that he has in his movies. But I really want to give him props for the final fight, because throughout that fight he used mostly steady shots. And what I mean is, compared to a lot of the action we get today, most of those scenes are done with shaky cam. So instead of following everybody around and the action being so frenetic, a lot of the shots are still, which gives you a visual of what's going on, and you see the action, which is excellent and somewhat a lost art, it seems. This movie also features the bittersweet sounds of James Horner's last score before his death in 2015, and you can certainly hear some of his old songs in this film, which just makes it all the more bittersweet to say goodbye to such a great composer. Still, as fun as it is riddled with every cliche in the book. And I mean, it draws plenty of inspiration from a number of other movies, not the least of which Django Unchained. In fact, one of the scenes is pretty much lifted directly from Django Unchained, as well as Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. And it definitely plays its PG-13 rating safe quite a bit, and not just when it comes to violence, which is substantial. There is a lot of violence in this movie. I walk out of that and just admire the body count in this movie that they got for a PG-13 is incredible. It's not just the violence that's PG-13 safe, but also some of the themes, the dialogue is also quite PG-13 safe. There's even some of the lines that are absolutely predictable, and I don't even want to get into the last line of the movie, which it's like you don't want to end a movie on a groaner, but this one was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Speaking of the ending, my key gripe. The resolution of this movie is one cliche that really, really needs to go away. So, minor spoiler. After they succeed, which they do, not all of them survive, but when they succeed, the ones who survive basically just get up and leave the destruction for the town to clean up. So, they just kind of get up and leave. And the town has to clean up all these bodies and the destruction and everything that went on for them to protect this small settlement. The focus is so much on the characters and seeing which ones make it out that the act itself of what they're doing is actually a little bit subdued. I mean, you see the reaction on the townspeople's face at the end, but when they just kind of walk away, it's like, oh, okay, you guys are going to clean this up, right? All the dead bodies? Good, cool. And that's one where I could not divorce myself from the Seven Samurai comparison, because at least in Seven Samurai, they do show how this group of samurai came in and helped that community from within. They helped not only protect them, but build this community and, help them grow and became almost a part of that community in the process of protecting them. Whereas here, the survivors just basically, they do their job, nod of the hat, and ride off. It's a really cheap farewell. It's one of those tropes that I'm just kind of getting sick of where, that everybody is happy and excited at the end, despite the fact that there is just a massive amount of destruction and death that just went on. I don't think any real situation would be that happy in the end, no matter who came out on top. Overall, the film offers plenty of action and plenty of laughs, but it also has some real impact in who these people are and what they do, what they accomplish. It does indeed embody the gravity of the original concept, the original Seven Samurai concept, but it's not original in any way, shape, or form. It's still very much a cliche. But, did you really expect original? It's a remake of a remake, for crying out loud. But I still give it 7 out of 10 because it was really entertaining, and like I said, I got to give a lot of props to Antoine Fuqua for doing some stuff that is kind of counter to what we're seeing more commonly today in action movies. That's my review of The Magnificent Seven. Let me know what you thought in the comments, if you agree or disagree, if you liked it, or kind of your thoughts on how it compared to either the 1960 or even to Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. And that's it for this episode of Key Gripe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, you can click over here to subscribe to my channel, or you can check out my website over here at dkestner.com, where you can find out more about everything I do, including the books I've written, like Elliot Knoll, and so many others. So, thanks a lot for watching.